Okay. You get up and walk off the stage.
Welcome back to Ideas at Work and Beyond. We are discussing how to eliminate child poverty, and one of the things that we realize is that we cannot eliminate child poverty without also helping the parents of these children. We heard before that we have to bring awareness. And what I want to discuss is, okay, right, so what? You know, we're going to bring awareness, but what's next? And what do we need to do to bring these people out of poverty? I know that we have assistance for them to kind of like help them to maintain, but how do we get them to the next level where they will no longer need the level of assistance that we're providing them right now?
Probably one of the things we talked about earlier was employment. Employment becomes very important, and not only minimum. We have a very low unemployment rate in Danbury, in the greater Danbury community.
But that doesn't
There's lots of service jobs. You're right. There's lots of service jobs, but some of the very skills that would allow people to raise out of poverty would be jobs that have some skill levels, and we need more training for those folks. For example, nursing is a high need area in this community. However, the number of positions to get nursing training in Danbury is very low. Students. There's very few student positions that are available. Very low in Danbury. WestConn graduating less than 50 students, I believe, per year in their nursing program. There's an LPN program that's very small, that's small in comparison at Henry Abbott Technical School. So that's one of the things. So get some job training where people can get viable occupations that would allow them to be competitive in the job market and to have skills that are lifelong skills that will be able to propel their families out of poverty. That's a major thing. The second thing would be housing. Subsidized housing is supposed to be a stopgap measure for low-income families to allow them to use their resources not only for their housing needs, but also to use their resources to move themselves out of poverty. Since there's so little low-income housing, and we have diminished the supply of low-income housing over the last couple of years, to the point that more and more people are on that list. I was at a meeting for a housing authority a few months ago, and they said there are 1,400 families that have signed up to sit on the waiting list for public housing in the city of Danbury. That's amazing. And we're seeing more and more families stuck in public housing, not because they're ready to move out, but because of the rapid growth the increase in the housing and real estate markets over the last couple of years, they have found themselves unable to make that initial purchase or to buy that starter home. We don't have any new starter homes in Danbury anymore. We haven't really started any. So all of these factors move into families using more and more of their resources for day-to-day living and not to use their resources to propel them out of poverty.
Let me give you an example of a small program that is working very, very diligently at improving the employment skills of, in most cases, they've targeted women. I sit down and I talk to Luann Bloomer, who is the executive director for TBICO, the Bridge to Independence, and where they bring in ladies who are looking to either re-enter the workforce or either who are looking to develop some skills in office administration, some computer skills, which would allow them to transition either back into the workforce or either move into the workforce initially. And usually somebody who has good computer skills, good administrative computer skills, can probably get a job that is above the level that we talked about, $8 to $10 an hour. Okay, so what you're doing is you are providing opportunities for employment for some people. You are providing opportunities for people who may have been out of the workforce and may be part of a household where they are either a single head of household, or they may be part of a household where there is another wage earner, but the fact that they're moving into the workforce now brings up the total income of that household. But at the same time, it also gives them some skills that are marketable. These are the kinds of situations and kinds of opportunities, and there are other scenarios that are available from the standpoint of workforce development, whereby workforce development grants, okay, are available to companies to provide training to people to enhance their overall technical skills and either thereby make them viable employees or either improve the skills. And so we need to do more of what we call economic development activities around our workforce, as well as being able to bring these higher skilled jobs into our communities. You look at the companies like Boehringer Ingelheim, which is a pharmaceutical manufacturer. You look at a firm like ATMI, which is involved in the transistor and semiconductor industry. Highly skilled kind of industries. Danbury has a lot of those, and we need to continue to attract those kinds of companies, as well as make sure that we have the skilled employees that these companies need before they get here. Because if we don't have them, 9 times out of 10, they're not coming.
Okay, let's look at the percentage here. From 1989 to 2006, okay, the poverty level pretty much stays the same. 1989, 12.8%. 1997, 13.3%. 2000, 12.5%. 2005, 12.6%. 2006, 12.3%. Now, during the Clinton administration, people actually say that it was the best we ever seen the economy, the best. But when you look at from 1989 to 2006, we haven't seen any difference at all.
But one of the things you have to look at is...
But this is nationally.
Right. But I mean, the problem is the distance between the haves and the have-nots. Between 1989 and the early 2000s, the difference between the haves and the have-not were not that great. Now, the distance between the haves and the have-nots is even greater. We have more people who are earning more resources than before. And the people who are, and that kind of illustrates that, because the folks who are at the bottom stay at the bottom. They don't move from the bottom. It's because the wealth is not evenly distributed. The folks at the top are getting theirs, and the folks in the middle. But the people at the bottom are pretty much staying at the bottom.
Is it because the folks at the top are more? Is it because the folks at the top are more aggressive? They are more driven. They pretty much know how to get what they want.
Well, I think that what happens is there's more opportunities. The more I see, the more I want to see. There's more opportunities. The more ways for me to get out of poverty. I'll tell you about some of the kids that I know. We used to be the time that kids wanted to be nurses, and I talk about the medical profession because I think that's a great place for folks to be in the human services field. Kids wanted to be nurses. Now kids talk about being nurses' assistants. There's a difference because they haven't seen that they can be nurses. It's harder to be a nurse. It's easier to be a nurse's assistant. So I'm kind of going to be left there. And there's nothing wrong with being an assistant nurse, but the statistics point out that we need more nurses. So as folks start to move, they're not moving. The folks at the bottom aren't moving because they don't have the resources and they don't have the vision sometimes that they need to have, or the opportunities they need to have to move out of this.
Okay.
Somebody looked at some statistics, and I'll just share this. Say that 8 out of 10 individuals who were born in poverty will probably stay in poverty. Okay?
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. So that means that maybe 1 or 2 of those individuals rise out of poverty. 8 out of 10 of those individuals who are born to wealth, will stay in wealth. Okay, so maybe two out of that a group of 10, may lose, okay, some wealth. Okay, so you have a situation where if you're born in poverty, there is a very, very high probability that, as Ms. Armstrong said, that your vision, okay, or your scope, or your understanding of what opportunities are available to you, unless there is assistance provided, then you see a different world.
Okay. Well, the phone lines are open, 792-4101, 792-4101, and hopefully it will be on the screen for people to call in. And, wow, 8 out of 10, huh? 8 out of 10. Okay. And this is what this show is all about. CACD is participating in the initiative to eliminate child poverty by 50%. And when we look at 8 out of 10, and when you think of Danbury alone, and this is very disturbing because people pretty much, when they think of Danbury, they think of the Good Old Boy Network. Okay, I don't know about you, but if you're watching TV right now, have you ever been somewhere where you're trying to get help or service, and the people who actually helping you, you wonder, how did they get this job? They are as, I'm trying to be nice tonight, but you wonder how did they get this job? And where also there's a, like a college requirement, and to find out that they don't have any college, they didn't meet that requirement, but they get it. It's a Good Old Boy Network. But you do find some people who could do very well in that position, but they don't get it because, like you said, the system is somehow, there's a belief that the system is somehow designed to keep certain people exactly where they at, and it's, to me, I just want to know that, given how difficult it is in Danbury, when you used to have the old factory job where people can actually work, where they will be able to get like $20 an hour for their skills. These jobs are like moving away. You don't have these jobs in Waterbury, also in Danbury. I'm curious to know, how real is it to try to eliminate child poverty by 50% here in Danbury without these people moving out of Danbury? And how do we break that Good Old Boy network, that system where you will have a sense of the American dream, where everyone is equal based on merits and not who you know and your connections? How do you do that?
And I think that's what we're doing here this evening, is raising people's level of awareness, making sure that giving people an opportunity, because a lot of people are not having this conversation in their living rooms or around their dinner table, to raise people's level of awareness, to understand that maybe I should give somebody an opportunity that I'm not aware with. Maybe I should be pleasant to the person I'm working next to because I don't know them, or I don't know where they came from, or they're not from Danbury. Maybe I should give them a chance to learn a new skill. Maybe I should make sure that they learn new words. Parents can say, I want to make sure my kids will know over 6,000 words before he goes to kindergarten. Those are the things that we need to start talking about around the dinner table, and to bring a sense of ownership for every community member to make these things happen. Maybe I can go out of my way to do something for somebody or some program, or to support some program if I have the political will. Maybe I can do that because of the fact that I am helping not only my neighbor, but in essence, I'm helping myself.
So is it, okay, I can understand eliminating child poverty because through education, you're educating the child. hopefully, especially in Danbury, we are lucky to live in Danbury because the education system in Danbury is very good. Now, in terms of the parents, who I would say very complacent, they like where they at. They getting assistant to just get by. How do we motivate them to get out? I know the children, it's one thing because you have time to educate them so that they can become better.
Well, one of the things that I will share with you, and this goes back to our desire to collaborate with all of the agencies in our community. If you look at us, I won't say a small, but maybe by budget, maybe it's small on a relative basis. But if you look at Danbury Children First, they have two programs. One is called PEP, People Empowering People, and they also have the what they call the Parent Leadership Institute. And what they end up doing is they invite families to come into an awareness and an advocacy and a leadership and a training situation with them, whereby they give them the skills to empower themselves to make change in this community for themselves and for their children. You've got another small organization called We Care. Okay, and basically this organization is focused on parents who are advocating for their children who might have some type of educational challenge. But the name of the game is, how do we take these low-income families and bring them into either parenting skills workshop or either a politics 101, and make sure that we identify what their skills are and support their skills where possible, but also expose them to the opportunity that they indeed could make a difference.
And one thing I want to point out is I don't think any person who has a child will want their children to do worse than they're doing. Every parent would like to see their child do better than them and to move further than they ever could move. Every parent wants that for a child. I think one of the problems or one of the challenges for parents in Danbury, in the greater Danbury community, is as they try to just make ends meet, and they have to work 2 and sometimes 3 different jobs, and not having some of the resources of child care. We have a waiting list on our child care, our subsidized child care, for example. These folks are just worn out. And at the end of the day, they don't have the time to attend meetings or to even sit down at the dinner table and look over their child's homework or to help the child to be motivated, because they're just worn out from the burden of living, just the burden of making it, just the burden of making sure they got a roof over their head, taking care of their basic needs, making sure they have a roof over their head, food on their table, and clothes on their backs. They don't have much energy to do the other stuff that we expect to have parents do. And so that's why we need community services such as our own to give parents a break, to give them the opportunity to spend that time reading to their son or daughter at night and not having to go out to a 2nd or 3rd job, to give them the relief to have a warm house when they come home from work and not have to struggle or not have heat at all, and to give them the resources or the support in having food to put on their table instead of their children going hungry. So we're looking at basic needs. We're not looking at folks catching fire and running around. We're looking at just meeting the basic needs to enable parents to be better resources for their own children. That's what raising the children out of poverty, as this agency is concerned about. Looking at their own resources, looking to help them with looking at their own resources and making them go further.
We have 3 minutes left. What exactly do you want the community to do in respect to eliminating child poverty? What do you want them to do to help you to succeed with the 50%?
Needless to say, we need as many resources as we can. We always have people who want.
Well, some people would say, you know what, you have enough resources.
We don't have enough, trust
already.
me.
Okay, so what do you don't have?
We can use more of everything that we do have. I'll yield to Bobby for that because he's more aware of the day-to-day needs that the agency has, that families can benefit from, and that people can help us with.
You know, I look across all of our programs, and one of the things that Ms. Armstrong mentioned, that within our child care center, we have a waiting list of probably over 100 kids. If you look at, I sit on the Danbury School Readiness Council, and we estimate that there are probably at least 400 kids in the city of Danbury who don't get any, let's say, formalized early childhood education. So what we really need to do is we need to make sure that we put some resources into whether it's our public schools or whether our parochial schools or whether the private, public subsidized activities. But we want to make sure that those kids have early childhood education so that there's a level of enrichment, there's a level of educational achievement so that when they go to school that they indeed will be competitive with those people who had those benefits before. Some people look at statistics and they say that three things. That if you have a high school education, okay, that if you have a job, and we didn't say that you have a high-tech job, and the third category is that if you are married, which probably means that you now have two wage earners in the family, it is highly unlikely that you will be in poverty wherever you live.
Well, okay, 1 minute. I want to conclude that we have to do more because it seems to me, living in Danbury, it's $50,000 for a family of 4, given the type of jobs that we have, and also what our elected officials are not doing to bring more jobs for these individuals. To me, I still see that it's still challenging, and we do need the support of the community, and they can call CACD. Let's get together and see what we can do to help eliminate child poverty. As you said, it will benefit everybody, everybody. We will continue this conversation throughout the year, next year, and we want to see exactly what's the strategic plan that will be implemented to do exactly that. And I want to say thank you very much for being on the show. It's very disturbing that we are living in a society, a very rich society, and within a matter of years, 4 years, we are spending about $1 trillion in Iraq. And just imagine if a fraction of that income could be spent here in the United States to eliminate child poverty, the impact it would have. So this conversation will be continued. See you next week. Actually, next week we will close, and the following week we will have Andrea to talk about downtown Danbury again. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Right. Thank you.
Are growing. More than a year ago, more than a decade ago, more people now living in this state than nearly any state in the Union. 1 out of every 10 families in America, 1 out of every 6 children in America, 33 million Americans teetering on the brink of hunger, sickness, hardship, 33 million Americans descending into poverty. And as their futures fall, so does our nation's.